Attention passionate New York Giants fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on New York Giants' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true New York Giants fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and New York Giants fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been following the Giants this season, you know how unpredictable this team has been. One week, they're celebrating their first win, feeling the momentum, and the next. Well, let's just say things take a nosedive, and that's exactly what happened in Week 5 against the New Orleans Saints. After that triumphant victory, the Giants came crashing down in a game that should have been a lot more competitive than it turned out. Imagine going from a high of confidence to a low of frustration, all in just one game. That's pretty much the story of their recent performance, especially with what happened on Sunday. The game started off with promise. The Giants scored on their first 2 drives, setting the tone early and showing signs of that offensive spark we've been waiting for. But then, things started to unravel, and it was as if the team's wheels just fell off completely. And what was really shocking was the sheer number of turnovers, 5 in total. That's a huge number for any NFL team, especially when you're trying to stay competitive in the NFL's toughest division. It's one thing to have a bad day, but 5 turnovers, including 3 fumbles and 2 interceptions, is almost unheard of for a team like the Giants, who normally pride themselves on ball security and disciplined play. And the head coach, Daboll, you can tell he was visibly frustrated. When asked about the game after, he kept it simple but impactful, just saying that it's hard to do when asked about the collapse. Now, that might sound like a brief comment, but looking deeper, it really sums up how difficult it was for the Giants to contain their mistakes. You see, these turnovers didn't just happen randomly. For example, Darius Slayton, who's been a consistent target for Daniel Jones, got a careless fumble at the end of the first half. That turnover allowed the Saints to grab the lead at halftime, going into the breakup 16-14. It was a game that looked promising for the Giants early on, but that one mistake shifted the momentum completely. The second half was a nightmare. The Giants got the ball to start the third quarter, looking to build on their momentum, but then comes the rookie quarterback, Daniel Jones, and he's trying to lead a drive. Things are looking good initially, but then he ends up fumbling the ball away on a scramble, completely unforced, just slipping out of his hands without contact from any defender. That kind of mistake is so frustrating because it's a sign of the challenges young quarterbacks face when trying to maintain composure under pressure. But the chaos didn't stop there. Cam Scativo, another key player on the offense, coughs up the ball in the red zone, which is essentially a golden scoring opportunity. Unfortunately, that fumble gets returned for a touchdown, and suddenly the Giants are deep in a hole, trailing 23-14. From that point on, it was an uphill battle. They tried to fight back, but with so many mistakes, it was just too much to overcome. And even though the Giants outgained the Saints in total yards, 335-332, and had a noticeable edge rushing the ball, those crucial turnovers and penalties kept them from turning good yardage into points. Speaking of penalties, folks, that's been an ongoing issue for the Giants this season. In this game alone, they committed 8 penalties for 95 yards. Jermaine Illuminor, the right tackle for the Saints, had a field day with the refs, drawing 3 flags, 2 for holding and 1 for false start. But the problem isn't just 1 or 2 players, it's a systemic issue. The Giants entered this game leading the league in penalties, and their Week 5 performance only added fuel to that fire. It's almost as if the team can't keep their discipline in check, and that's a recipe for disaster in the NFL. You can't shoot yourself in the foot that many times and expect to win consistently. Now, looking at the bigger picture, despite the turnovers and penalties, the Giants actually outgained the Saints in total yardage, especially on the ground. Saquon Barkley, when healthy, has been a force, and the offensive line has shown flashes of promise. Yet, all that yardage doesn't mean much when you're giving the ball away so often. It's a classic case of missed opportunities and self-inflicted wounds. This game is a perfect example of how, in football, it's not just about raw stats but about execution and discipline. The Giants right now are struggling with both, and let's talk a little about the division. The NFC East is as competitive as ever. The Eagles are looking strong, the Cowboys have a tough defense, and even the Commanders are lurking in the background. For the Giants, every game is crucial, especially if they want to climb back into playoff contention. But with a 1-4 record after 5 weeks, and a recurring theme of turnovers and penalties, it's clear they have a lot of work to do. It's not just about fixing the game plan, it's about fixing the mental approach, the discipline, and the execution under pressure. That's where coaching comes into play, and Brian Daboll, who's known for his sharp mind and strategic thinking, has a challenge ahead to get this team back on track. Now I want to highlight a couple of key players who are central to this team's future. Daniel Jones, the quarterback, has shown flashes of brilliance, but consistency remains elusive. His ability to lead the offense, make smart decisions, and protect the football will be critical moving forward. Darius Slayton, as I mentioned earlier, is a reliable target, but even he can't escape the frustration of that costly fumble before halftime. The offensive line needs to step up, especially with tackles like Jermaine Illuminor causing some trouble for the Saints' pass rush. And then there's Saquon Barkley, who's been a bright spot when healthy, providing that explosive element in the running game that the Giants desperately need. The defense, meanwhile, has had its moments. They've been able to contain opponents at times, but the backbreaking plays and the red zone struggles have hurt them. Saints' ability to capitalize on turnovers and score touchdowns off mistakes just shows how critical that aspect is. The Giants' defense needs to tighten up, especially in situational football, to give their offense a fighting chance in upcoming games. Looking ahead, the Giants will need to review this game thoroughly. There's a lot to learn from the mistakes: ball security, discipline, and perhaps most importantly, mental toughness. They have the talent. They have the players capable of turning things around. But it's about consistency and executing under pressure. The coaching staff, led by Daboll, will have to make adjustments quickly because the division isn't going to wait for anyone to catch up. The Eagles, Cowboys, and even the Commanders are all vying for supremacy, and if the Giants want to stay relevant and have a shot at the postseason, they need to fix these issues ASAP. And for all the fans out there, I know it's tough to see these setbacks, especially after such a promising start. But remember, every team faces adversity, and how they respond defines their season. The Giants have shown resilience before, and I believe they can bounce back from this. It's about learning from these mistakes, growing stronger, and coming back with a better game plan. If you're a true Giants supporter, you know the journey is long, and setbacks are part of the process. So keep faith, stay loud at the games, and remember that every champion faces hurdles along the way. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest New York Giants news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. So what's next for the Giants? Well, they'll need to focus on fixing their turnover issues, tightening up penalties, and restoring confidence in their offense and defense alike. They've got the talent, they've got the coaching staff, and they've got the fans who never give up. It's about turning the page after this tough loss and preparing for the next challenge. Every week is a new opportunity to improve, to learn, and to get back on track. The NFC East is a battleground, and the Giants have the potential to be a major player again, but only if they correct their course quickly. And now, New York Giants fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this game? Are you worried about the team's future, or do you believe they can bounce back stronger? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Giants. Remember, the season is still young and there's plenty of football left to play. We've seen teams recover from tough starts before, and I believe the Giants are capable of doing the same. Keep the faith, stay passionate, and keep supporting this team through thick and thin, because that's what true Giants fans do. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, more analysis, and more news about your beloved New York Giants. So stay tuned, stay loud, and let's keep the spirit alive. Thanks for watching, everyone.